Art with Miss Strauss. Lesson 2, Art Elements, Kindergarten Art for August 31st to September 11th. Hello everyone, are you ready for Lesson 2? Artwork, Elements, Lesson Objective. Our objective today is to describe the elements of an artwork using art vocabulary. Setting up your art space. Find a comfortable spot for you and your art materials. Today, our materials are optional. That means you don't need to have them, but you can follow along if you want. If you want to follow along, you can find a writing utensil like a regular graphite pencil, some art supplies, maybe like a colored pencil or crayons, and plain paper if it's available. Did you know that all art has something in common? What do you think it is? I will give you a hint. Think about what artwork is made up of. What is artwork made up of? I'll give you another hint. It's not things like colored pencils and paper. I wonder what it is. Did you know artwork is made up of the elements of art? You can make any type of artwork using the elements of art. The elements are the building blocks that all artists use to make artwork. Elements are like the ingredients for a cake. An element is a part, piece, portion, or segment of something else. Everything is made up of something. Pizza is made up of ingredients like cheese, pepperoni, and flour. Elements can be like this pizza cheese that they're putting on top. Elements can be like building blocks. Buildings can be made up of wood and brick. When you build a house out of blocks, you can use 1 or 2 blocks or many blocks. These blocks are the elements for building. Elements can be like thread in a cloth. The elements of art are the things that make up artwork. Artists use the elements like ingredients when creating art. Every artwork will have at least one element in it, and usually it will have more than one. Let's learn about each of the elements of art and how you can find them in art. There are 7 elements of art. They are line, shape, color, texture, value, form, and space. Now let's look at some examples. Line. A line is like a dot that took a walk. A line goes from one spot to another. A line can be straight, curvy, zigzagged, wavy, looped, dotted, dashed. When we connect lines together, we start to get things called shapes. Shape can be a geometric shape, like a square, a triangle, or a circle. The shapes are made out of lines when they connect. A shape can be geometric or organic. Geometric shapes include these shapes you probably already know. Do you see a square? Do you see the triangle? Do you see a circle? These are all shapes that are 2-dimensional and are flat. Shapes can be organic. Organic shapes are kind of like ish shapes. They're roundish, or maybe they're like a leaf-ish shape. They don't have to follow rules like other geometric shapes, and they're kind of like wild shapes. Wild shapes living in the free and in the woods. They make their own rules. There are many shapes in this collage. Do you see some shapes that you recognize? Geometric shapes have easy kinds of names, but organic shapes, they kind of have funny names and maybe we're not sure what to call them. An example of a geometric shape is the orange rectangle. Do you see the orange rectangle? Another shape that's a geometric shape is the red triangle. Do you see the red triangle in the picture? Another geometric shape is the blue rectangle. This blue rectangle is also in the picture, and it is also a geometric shape. There are some other shapes in the picture too, but I don't really know what to call them. Maybe these organic shapes could have some funny names. Maybe they're hard names to remember. What would you call them? Maybe a noodle angle? How about a wonkapotamus? How about, oh, I know, an octopodal? These organic shapes might not always have a name, but I think they look kind of fun in our artwork. After shapes, we have form. Form is not flat. Form is three-dimensional, and it can have height, width, and depth. Those are 3 dimensions. Something that is three-dimensional is not flat. Something that would be an example is a sphere, like a ball, or a cube that's a wooden block. Texture is another element of art. Texture explains how a surface looks or feels. If you could touch these rocks, how do you think it would feel? Could they be smooth, rough, bumpy, silky, fluffy, gritty, hairy, fuzzy, goopy? What do you imagine these rocks feel like? How about the brush? Do you think it would be rough or smooth? These are words to describe the texture. Color. You surely have some idea of what color is. You probably even have a favorite color. There are lots of colors. Another name for color is hue. There are many colors that we see every day. Some colors can be like red, blue, yellow, green, purple, and orange. Some colors are light and dark. And we also have something called the primary colors. These are important colors in art because when you're painting, you cannot mix 2 other colors to get the primary colors. You have to get it from the tube or container. You cannot mix to make blue, red, or yellow. There are only 3 primary colors. When you mix primary colors together, you get secondary colors. Secondary colors are like green, yellow, and blue mixed together to make green. Blue and red mixed together to get purple. And yellow and red mixed together to get orange. Lots of artists use paint to mix colors. We already talked about form, like a cube, but form can also help show us about value. Now, this block might look like it is floating above the surface of the paper here, but really it's just drawn. It is a 3-dimensional cube, but really it's just an illusion. The artist used value to make it look like it's floating on the page like that. The value is the light and the dark in a color. The lightest light to the darkest dark. Maybe if you have a pencil or crayon, you could try at home. Use your crayon and press with a lot of pressure, really, 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 really hard on your paper. Now get more and more gentle with less pressure and softer until the crayon barely touches the paper at all and you're hardly making any mark. When you go from light to dark, with that pressure, you can also go light to dark with your value. Our values could be things like dark blue, medium blue, and light blue. Space. There's different ways to talk about space. Space is how artists arrange their art to make things look a different way. Space can be near and far, and we give the illusion of space and size by overlapping things or putting things closer to the front of the page or further in the background. Sometimes we can play tricks because of the size and space and overlap of things. Now, we've just talked about the 7 elements of art. Now that you know about them, let's see if you could recognize them in the artwork. Since artwork is made up of elements of art, all artwork uses at least some of them. Maybe the art uses almost all of them, or maybe it uses a few. What elements of art do you see in this castle? Do you see color? You can see the artist used color. The artwork uses red, tan, green, and blue. Do you see space? The space can be the castle itself, or negative space being the area around the castle. Space is all around in the white. Value. The artist also used different values in the castle to show form. Do you see the dark tan and the light tan? Do you see the dark blue and light blue in the water? Those are different values. Form. Values help to create form, or the illusion of form. Form is another example of the elements of art. Notice how the castle appears to be three-dimensional. Line and shape work together. Lines meet, like these triangles, in the tops of the castle to create the shape of a triangle. Line and shape help us define an area. You can also see that the artist used lines and shapes to create the castle's texture. There is texture in the wood on the dock. Now, if you touch this picture, you wouldn't feel anything, but if you look close, it looks like there are grains of wood and that it is rough. The elements of art are used in every art that is around us. Sometimes artists use one, and sometimes artists use many elements of art. These elements are line, shape, color, texture, value, form, and space. Now that you know about the elements of art, see if you can draw a picture using all of them. That's the end of our lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.